Gravity is one of the easiest fundamental forces to directly observe in our universe. It is a force that attracts any two objects with mass. But what if I told you it probably doesn't exist in BFDI? You might think that this claim makes no sense. There are lots of scenes in the show where things fall, but this doesn't mean that there is a force between any two bodies with mass. These scenes could also be explained by the electrostatic force I introduced in my last video. We could just say that all the things that we see fall have a charge that is attracted to the charge of the Earth. Furthermore, in the real world, all objects have the same gravitational motion for the same planet, because the gravitational force is directly proportional to mass, and the motion is inversely proportional to mass, so the motion ends up being a constant. With the electrostatic force, we can have different motions, since charge doesn't affect the motion, and we are also able to have motions of different orders. And there are scenes in BFDI where things fall with motions of different magnitudes and orders, including not falling at all.
Yikes! What? A teardrop family reunion? No!
And I can't turn mass into a vector like with charge, because mass also appears in the formula for a force, and since the motion and the force are vectors, mass has to either be a scalar or a matrix, but I think that having mass be a matrix would make dealing with forces much more complicated for little benefit, so I think it's better to leave mass as just some number. Another option for this would be to have inertia mass and gravity mass be different things, and then having gravity mass be a vector to allow motions of different orders. But if we do this, we could just interpret gravity mass as more dimensions of charge and only have electrostatic forces. Another thing that supports this idea is Announcer's diary in BFDI 19 that says that Announcer's innards have repulsion towards the Earth, so he needs an Earth attraction unit so he doesn't go to space, but is flailing due to a lack of maintenance. And at the end of the episode, Announcer starts floating and going back down, and in the next episode, he is in space. For this situation to happen, there are at least two forces that have to act on Announcer. One force that repels Announcer from the Earth, and another that attracts the Earth attraction unit to the Earth. So we can't explain everything with just gravity, and having it wouldn't be that useful because it is possible to explain both forces with the electrostatic force. Considering only electrostatic forces, we could say that Announcer's charge is repelled by the Earth, and the Earth attraction unit's charge is attracted more strongly to the Earth, so Announcer with the unit is still attracted to the Earth. It is harder to explain why the unit needs maintenance, because just a chunk of material that is attracted to the Earth could work just fine. Maybe Announcer's charge changes over time, so the unit also has to change its charge to keep a constant net force. This is all I would have for this video, but then I looked at the image of the really weird planet in the Orion Nebula to make the animation at the start of the video, and I realized that there are two interesting things about its shape. The first is that it has large features sticking out of it. The height of this thing is about 24% of the diameter of the planet in the image. The second one is that in this image, the projection of the planet is not a circle, it is a bit off, and an ellipse is better, but still has some error, and the improvement just comes from the fact that an ellipse is defined by 5 points instead of 3. The problem is that a perspective projection of a sphere is always an ellipse, and in a parallel projection it is a circle, so this planet is not a sphere even if you ignore the large features. Gravity would make large bodies that are not close to a sphere collapse and turn into a sphere, so this planet wouldn't be possible with gravity. But if you only consider the electrostatic force, you can just say that the charge of the planet doesn't interact with itself that much, and even less with the large features, so the planet can maintain its shape without collapsing. In conclusion, we don't really need gravity to explain why things fall in BFDI, since we can just use the electrostatic force, which can explain more things like objects falling with different motions, and the large features of the really weird planet in the Orion Nebula. This is all I have for this video. Goodbye!